And so when I end up getting Jadakiss on the phone, I'm speaking to him, and I told him, hey man, look, I'm trying to do this record, you know, just to kind of pay homage and pay tribute to Biggie, but I also want to get Mace on the record too as well. And he's like, Mace? What? Get him on the phone right now. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, damn, all right, put me right on the spot.
So bring me up to speed on how this all came together in 2007.
Yes, okay, so back in 2006, I had the opportunity to go on tour with this group called Mobb Deep, who was just signed to G-Unit at the time. And during that tour, you know, being on the bus for so long, and as we were touring it, you know, we have all these talks and conversations. So I had just to sit down, we were just chilling with Prodigy, one of the members of Mobb Deep. And we were just talking, and then we started talking about Biggie. And one of the things he told me was when Prodigy went to Biggie's house, he was like, this is the first time I saw all Gucci furniture. He was like, man, I loved it. I loved it. And then, you know, it kind of sparked a little interest in me because, you know, I always grew up just listening to Biggie's music. I never got an opportunity to actually meet him. So when he was talking about Biggie, I was just like a little kid. I'm like, what? Tell me more. I want to know more. So after that tour, I really got to thinking, I should really just do something to kind of commemorate Biggie's death, since it had been 10 years since he died. So what I wanted to do is, I wanted to figure out a way on how to get everyone kind of involved, people who were influential during, you know, the time of Biggie in his era. And so I ended up reaching out to a couple people, and I ended up getting Mace, who was an artist on Bad Boy, and also Jadakiss, who's also part of a group called The Locks on Bad Boy at the time, and just getting them on the phone call. Now, here's the craziest thing. They haven't spoke for years. And so when I end up getting Jadakiss on the phone, I'm speaking to him, and I told him, hey man, look, I'm trying to do this record, you know, just to kind of pay homage and pay tribute to Biggie, but I also want to get Mace on the record too as well. And he's like, Mace? What? Get him on the phone right now. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, damn, all right, put me right on the spot. So I end up getting Mace on a three-way conversation with Jadakiss. So they're on the phone, and you know, they're like, you know, just catching up, and it's just funny because I was literally just quiet that whole conversation. They were just talking about all the stuff from back in the day, and I'm just like listening. I'm like, man. And then next thing you know, they're asking me a question. I'm just still listening because I'm at awe right now, because these are guys who I looked up to, you know, growing up with their music. I'm like, man. And they're like, so are we gonna do this? And I just stayed quiet. I'm like, yeah, no, we're gonna make this happen. We're gonna do this. So needless to say, fast forward, to try to kind of get everybody a part of this record, it was so hard because I had to just constantly stay on top of everybody, and I was making phone calls and all this. And you know, at the time, Jada was out in LA, and Mace was elsewhere. So I was just trying to kind of coordinate it with everyone. Come to find out, it was like the hardest thing to do, is just to kind of corral everybody all together in one spot. So after that conversation, I was just trying to figure out how I can get everybody, you know, kind of in the studio to do this record. So I started reaching out to people who were in New York at the time. So one of the guys who I got introduced to, Maino, my man Rel introduced me to him, and then I knew another guy who was locked up with him, was like, yeah, you know, here, let me reach out, let me just make sure that, you know, he's down to do it. So after that conversation, I started really kind of putting the puzzle together. So one, I ended up getting one of my friends, Chris Ward, to start working on the production of this actual record. When that record that Chris Ward did got finished, I ended up having the individuals come and just kind of put some extra spice to it and add some flair to it. And then we sent it out to Maino. Maino loved it, and he hopped on it. And it was cool because when he was recording it, you know, he was calling me and he was just saying, yo, this is fire, son. Wait till you hear this. I'm like, all right, cool, perfect. He's like, I kept it all the way real with this one. I said, all right, cool, I can't wait to hear it. So when I heard it, I'm like, wow, okay. Because he ended up getting into an altercation with one of Biggie's members of Junior Mafia, Little C's, and he brought it out on this particular record, on this tribute to Big. And I just thought that was really cool because he was just keeping everything all the way honest. And then at this time, I was working with an artist called Chingy. He had the song Holiday Inn and Right There and all this other stuff. And Chingy was signed to, at that time, was signed to DTP. So we were working on some more records for Chingy. A lot of people were like, why'd you get Chingy on it? First of all, Chingy, one, a lot of people don't give him the respect that he deserves. And two, I mean, he's just a hard worker. In my eyes, he was just putting out some good radio records. And this is just something different that no one actually heard this side of Chingy before, and he was actually being, kind of giving the story on why he hopped on this record. So then I reached out to Ernie, because at that time I was shopping records for Bone Thugs and Harmony to kind of get on their new album, and Ernie said, this would be a perfect record for Bizzy to get on. So I said, perfect. So he let him hear it, and he's like, yes, I'm down, let's do this. So now the weight was on me. Now I had to make sure I figure out a place where we can record this, where we can make this happen. So I end up reaching out to a couple people. We end up getting this recorded at Swizz Beatz studio. So we end up going to Swizz Beatz studio, and as we're recording it, Bizzy's in the studio. I end up calling Maino. Maino's like, what? You guys are at the studio right now? All right, cool, I'm gonna come down, I'm gonna check this record out. What I didn't know at the time was that he ended up hearing a version of the record that got leaked out. So that was one of the stumbling blocks that I started realizing. I'm like, what? It got leaked out without being finished. So that kind of bothered me a little bit, but I didn't realize it was leaked out until when he came to the studio. He was like, man, I heard the record, man. I'm like, what do you mean you heard the record? Yeah, I heard the record, it just sounds crazy. I'm like, what? So we had to kind of reassess our approach of this record, because we wanted to release it with some promo behind it and everything like that, and release the radios. So we kind of restructured the record a little bit more, and we had this guy named Chris Notes just kind of kill it on the vocals, and we had him kind of change up some of the vocals for that. And regardless, it wasn't really so much to kind of get the people's approval. It was more so just kind of doing it to pay homage, because at this time there was a whole new game of artists coming out, and so people were starting to forget about this era of Biggie. So it was more so just to do it just because we just wanted to do it out of love. And to note, none of these artists ever asked me for a penny to be like, hey, look, we want some money to do this record, because nowadays everything's based on money. Everybody wants money to do everything. So especially artists, rappers, and producers, and everybody like that. People who just like, look, I just want to do it. I want to show love, and I want to make sure that this gets out there. So I was like, yeah, we're gonna make this happen, one way or another. So to kind of bring everything back to what I was saying as far as the record, so after the leak, we kind of just stepped back and we kind of just reevaluated everything, and we proceeded forward to change things around on that record. We kind of changed some of the production too behind it, because again, it was not finished, but we also wanted to have people hear it like as it should have been, like brand new, and everybody was happy with it. And then we released it. It really gained some traction on radio, and we just never really, I wanted to do a video, we just never really got a chance to do a video on it. But now that it's, coming up to March 9th again, I wanted just to kind of re-release this record and tell this story, because I've never told this story to anyone before. So this is the first time I'm actually doing it, and it feels good to do this. Just because a lot of people don't even realize what it takes now these days, to kind of get everyone together, and also to pay tribute and homage to, someone who is an idol and who's a legend in this game, who kind of set the path for everyone else to follow. And yeah, so with Biggie, I mean, this was just so, how everything lined up was just so perfect. So as far as my plans for the future are just, writing more records. I would actually like to do more of this stuff, because for me, it's not about the money, it's just about the love and passion. And that's how I started in this business, doing music. It just started from a passion first. So I would love to collaborate with more artists, and especially like newer artists, and just kind of bring everyone all together again and do something similar to how we did this record. But what I would really love is for people to like it, share it. I want everyone to tell their mama, their grandmama, their auntie, their cousin, their nephew, everyone about it, so we can do more of these kind of records.
You! Yeah, that's right, you. Do me a favor, there's a free download link right below this video. So make sure to download that, share it, make sure to go tell a friend to tell a friend, and also don't forget to like and subscribe this page. All right, so we'll see you on the next video. Peace.